Welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad. It's Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. I am Bishop Darrell Watkins, the Senior Minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. With me today are Bishop Robert Griffin, my husband, and the Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell. We are the Queer God Squad. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about us.
Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Out to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There is no streaming TV show like this in the entire world.
In 2026, we are celebrating the 41st anniversary of Hotspots magazine, with Queer News Tonight sharing over 11,000 stories and 11 million views so far. We are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies.
We are proud to announce that Hotspots Happening Out is a beneficiary of the Florida AIDS Walk. Funds raised will be matched dollar for dollar in support of Hotspots Happening Out HIV policy reform and educational programs, including the MSM conference. We invite you to join us on March 21st to walk in support of the HIV community.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral perspective. The Bible isn't anti-queer, it is queer. In an article for Religion News Service, the Reverend Brandan Robertson argues that the Bible is, quote, a complex queer text, end quote, that has been misappropriated by the Christian right to justify bigotry and political marginalization. He says that conservative Christians, emboldened by recent political shifts, use a weaponized version of biblical values, so-called, to target LGBTQ+ individuals, despite the scholarship suggesting their interpretations are historically and linguistically flawed. Robertson highlights that the term homosexuality is a 19th century invention, and its appearance in modern translations is inaccurate. He posits that the 6 biblical passages often used to condemn same-sex relationships actually address ancient practices of sexual exploitation, abuse, and idolatry, rather than consensual, loving relationships. Furthermore, he points to queer elements within the text itself, such as the intimate bond between David and Jonathan, Joseph's gender-subverting attire, and the inclusion of the Ethiopian eunuch in the early church. The author calls on LGBTQ+ people and their allies to wrest the Bible from their grasp of the Christian right. He argues that conceding the text allows right-wing groups to claim divine authority for discrimination, which causes harm to LGBTQ youth in religious environments. Instead of dismissing Christianity as irrelevant to progressivism, Robertson says activists should reclaim the Bible as a radical subversive resource for justice. He notes that the Bible has historically motivated social reform and the pursuit of human dignity, from the prophet's call for justice to the belief that everyone is made in the image of God. Robertson asserts that by reclaiming the Bible's complexity, believers can expose the prejudice underlying the Christian rights agenda. Reinterpreting these scriptures not only protects the vulnerable, but also offers a more inclusive gospel that aligns with the values of pluralism, liberty, and equality. I noticed on the screen there that we saw the Queer Bible Commentary, second edition. I'm in that. Ezra and Nehemiah, in case you wondered. He's right about the queer images, though. And I mean, he named like 3 or 4. You could name dozens of queer images, like Adam and Eve. You know, Eve comes into existence, is basically born from a man. You can queer that 30 different ways. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's at least intersex. It may even be trans. I mean, this is not the norm. This is not how it's usually done. This is queer. This is different. And so for people to say they made Adam and Eve, a man and a woman, blah blah blah. Well, first of all, it's a myth, and second of all, the man gave birth to the woman. Like, your first story is a queer story. So hello. Same with Mary and Jesus. You can call it, the virgin birth, you can call it a miracle, but what you can't call it is a man being Jesus' father, which means he doesn't have XY chromosome, he has XX, which means though he appears to be a man, he's got the chromosomal makeup of a woman. Of course, another myth. These things don't happen, but they are the sacred stories. In the sacred story, they do happen. So you've got Jesus and Eve completely gender variant from the start, from the get-go. You've got eunuchs all up in the book of Esther, eunuchs being a sexual and gender minority in the I almost said antiquity, but this is even before antiquity, isn't it? This is Iron Age stuff, and you've got Jesus' beloved disciple. He didn't call any other man beloved. What's that about? The Roman centurion who comes to have his young servant healed, but the word used there in one of the Gospels is pais, and pais suggested a sexual relationship, like a body slave that tended to to getting dressed and getting bathed and that sort of thing, and often had a sexual component. I mean, of all the, why would you pick this guy to be your washer and dresser? Because that's the guy I want seeing me naked or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot of queerness in the Bible, and so he's absolutely right that if we can not only find the queerness, but we can queer other things, like when what did he say? The Joseph with the coat of many colors. That's super queer. Not only because it looks like a rainbow, but no, princesses would that was the dress of a princess, that you would wear these many colored garments, and I think they would be unmarried, and so that's another way you could also tell. Oh, that she's available if you're of equal rank or whatever. But yeah, that he dressed like a princess. Well, he's his rich father's favorite child, and here he's dressed like a princess. All these kinds of things. So yeah, the Bible has been used horribly, which is why we have to. I don't like the verse tit for tat, and trying to deconstruct everything, and well, you're just twisting it to prove you. No, actually, you're using it to prove you, and me using it to prove me is affirming. You using it to prove you is trying to beat me up. But I'm tired of that argument. I'm just sick of that argument. The Bible is not authoritative. The authority it has because we give it. And it doesn't say anything because it's not univocal. Lots of people say things and wound up in the Bible. And it's not, so it's human, it's not univocal, and it doesn't mean anything without interpretation, and we choose our interpretive lens. So there are no original documents left. We don't speak these ancient languages. We are not part of the cultures they came from. It's not one voice. So no, it's fascinating. It can be useful, sometimes as a cautionary tale, and sometimes as oh, look what they did. But God didn't write it, and it doesn't mean anything other than what we say it means, because readers make meaning. It has to be interpreted, and I don't have to accept your interpretation. So I just think we should come at it that way. I'm a thinking person. I have lived experiences. I have mind. I have inspiration. I have innovation. I have creativity. I have all of these things, and I can bring that to the text. I can ignore the text if I want to, but I'm 59. I've been doing this for 59 years. I'm not like I'm kind of in the club, but I don't have to believe what you say about it. And I just think anymore, that's where we should start. Not trying to argue about, well, did God say this or God say that? God didn't say dick. So let's talk about how we bring ourselves to the text and what it means to us. And no one can tell us we're wrong, because you don't know what it means to me, and I told you. You don't get to say that So I think we should bring ourselves and our authority and our agency to the discussion.
This whole thing of the topic, the Bible isn't anti-queer, it's queer. This reminds me of the story of where Jesus encounters the blind man. And Jesus spits on the ground, makes a little mud, put it on the guy's eyes, and he tells him to go wash his eyes in the pool. When he washes his eyes in the pool, the first thing he says, I can see. But the question that before that is like, who calls this man sin that he's blind? You said, there was no sin in this. But then the guy washes his eyes and he says, I can see. And that has always been kind of queer to me, because once he says, I can see, you cannot unsee what you've seen.
Oh, see there?
You cannot unsee once you have seen. So the act of washing his eyes, like, I can see. You cannot unsee once you've seen it.
Ooh,
and I think one of the first things that I saw in Scripture or heard in Scripture that kind of made me go, at the wedding, we often hear, where you go, I shall go. Your people shall be my people. Where you live, I will live. Ruth and Naomi. And I remember asking a teacher at one point, goes, does that say what I think it says and are two women saying that to each other. Not, of course, it's all historical, but yeah, that's what. But when I heard it, I couldn't unhear it. So I think that's the whole thing for me about the Bible. It's queer. The whole thing is queer. And it's about the lens through which you look at it from, which you come at it from. And when you learn something, you can't unlearn it. And so a lot of these things that we talk about, you know, finding ourselves in Scripture, we have learned that in seminary. We've learned how to deconstruct it. We know about those clobber passages. We know about how these things intersect in the Bible, the historical versus what isn't historical, the myth versus what's not, what it wasn't myth. You know, all of that. And to say again, once you see, you can't unsee what you're seeing.
Right.
And once you know it, you cannot preach anything else but a liberated gospel that calls for all people to be set free.
If you see it, you hear it, you know it, and you don't preach it, then what you are preaching is a lie.
Right, right. And for those, I think, who are thinking, you know, I would really like to check out the Bible and maybe see where I am in the Bible, there's a lot of opportunity to do that. You can read it yourself. If you have questions about it, there's commentaries all over the place. But don't just grab one or two.
Bible commentary.
Queer Bible commentary.
It's a good one.
But it really is. I mean, the first one I got.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I have that thing marked and marked and marked because it's really interesting to read the Bible for yourself, read Scripture for yourself, and then take these commentaries and see what other people think.
Exactly.
Oh, I hadn't considered that. Oh, I thought I did think that, but wasn't really sure where to go with it. So books like what Reverend Robertson has, commentaries, it's a really great place to start for those who are, for those who are questioning, how do I do this?
Yeah. And this whole thing is a study. It is a discipline. This isn't something new that just popped out within the last 2 to 3 years.
Queer theory, queer theology. You can get degrees in this.
Right. And it's accessible.
It is.
It really is accessible. You don't have to go to seminary to do this. You can get the Bible, get your commentaries, find commentaries. A lot of this stuff is online. Be judicious about what it is, because there's a lot of stuff out there too. But I mean, look for scholars who have created this kind of thing and do it for yourself.
People who went, now you can go other places and get enlightened, you know, along the way. But for sure, if someone's credentials are from Harvard, Union Theological Seminary, Yale, Princeton, Boston University, Stanford, Brown, the Graduate Theological Union, University of Chicago. I mean, there are places that you know. This is Vancouver School of Theology. These are places, they're ecumenical. They are looking for the best scholars to teach. Only the best scholars get through the programs. Like, so you say, oh, you're just being an academic. Stop. Actually, it matters.
Yeah, it does.
It matters where people come from and what they've studied and how they've studied and how they've been recognized by their peers. It does matter. And I just want to point out, because we're at the end really, but I want to point out that when Bishop Robert was talking about, you know, he watched his eyes and he could see you can't unsee. And what we hear at weddings is a lifelong vow that one woman made to another, and you know, all that. And then Joseph is dressed like a princess. That is what is meant by queering the Scriptures. So yeah, you can find the queer bits, but you can also say, how does this apply to my queer life? Any of it. And this is a great parallel for my experience of life. When you were saying that, I was thinking of Jacob, who had to work and wait 14 years to marry the person he loved. 14 years. Other people pushed on him, oh, you should marry her, and promises broken, and to go through all of that to marry the person he loved. Doesn't almost every gay person over the age of 30 know that experience? Right? So yeah, that's what we mean by seeing yourself in the text, queering the text, and then finding, you know, there's lots of queer bits. The Ethiopian eunuch, I think, was one of the ones he mentioned. But so there's lots, but there's also stuff that, there's nothing specifically gay about it, and yet their story sounds a lot like my story. So yeah, bring your queer self, your queer eyes, your queer experiences to the Bible, and you will find yourself in the Bible. And once you see, you can't unsee. And that's today with the Queer God Squad.
And before we go, we want to remind you about the Cathedral Pub. The Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts offers the Cathedral Pub experience. The Cathedral Pub offers performance attendees an inviting space to gather and connect with friends prior to the show, or a place to be while waiting for the doors to open. Guests enjoy live music, beverages, and appetizers in a comfortable meet-and-greet environment while they await the start of their performance. On show nights, the Cathedral Pub opens an hour before each performance and closes 15 minutes before it starts. Entry to the Cathedral Pub requires a separate purchase from your seat ticket, and the link can be found on the seat selection page. Be sure to purchase before checking out. There is a limited number of people who can get pub passes, so don't delay.
Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBT community is talking about. Please like and share this and other episodes of the Queer God Squad.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that we're all in this together. And also remember, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad. Goodbye.